It's been nearly 3 months since police and the city started tearing down encampments in Edmonton. They're also trying to connect people removed from the encampments with needed services. Edmonton Police Chief Dale McFee is with me now to talk about all of this. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning, Mark. Good to be here.
So, last time we spoke, you were getting ready to remove encampments. You spoke at a press conference yesterday where you said the strategy is working. What makes you say that?
Well, I think if you just look at the number of people, the number of encampments, literally we went from probably a couple thousand is what the initial estimate was, and there's very few left. There's over 2,200 referrals made. What we've learned is there's not as many people as once people have been saying, but what we've also seen is that with the criminal elements, certainly our crime stats in relation to calls for service, the violence is down considerably, and we're seeing people get moved into services every day, and now they're going on their own.
Now, the Navigation Center is a big part of this. What is it about that that has worked well in your view?
Yeah, well, it's the decision makers. So you've got social service, you've got mental health and addictions, you got some of our not-for-profits, you got access to the shelters, you got access to Sublocade and Suboxone, which, to slow down or to hopefully stop the overdoses. It's all there in one place.
Now, we had a story on CBC last week that showed 302 people with no fixed address died in Edmonton last year, 2023. That's a record number, 8 times higher than before the pandemic, which is a marker for a lot of different things. What do you think when you see these numbers?
Yeah, I think when you look at something like that, I think the first and foremost thing is time to try something different, and that's exactly what this is, and that's exactly what we're doing. But you know what? The other thing about that is there's so many numbers out there. I spoke yesterday to saying there's been 72 deaths in the first couple of months of this year.
78, I think, 70, in our reporting.
But in relation to that, it's interesting because that's the total number of deaths in the downtown that we went to. So that includes everything from natural causes to suicide to everything else, and that's actually down from the year before by 15. So nobody's saying the numbers are wrong, but the reality is when you actually look at these, there's so many numbers out there. The other number that we heard, I think even last time you and I talked, was 3,000 homeless people in relation to on the streets. That's not even close to the right number.
Well, what do you think the right number is?
Well, it's a lot less than that. What I can tell you is, we probably, from what we're seeing, is 200 to 400 that are significantly have some addictions and potentially some mental health issues that need a health solution.
Only 200 to 400?
Well, but that's not. Again, we're classified as homeless. That's one segment of the population.
Yeah.
In the shelters, you're seeing some of our immigrants start to grow in that population. Affordable housing is an issue. So the whole point of what I'm saying here is not that there's not an issue. The point is it's not one issue. There's a few issues, and I think that's what a navigation center is gives you the ability to focus all on the issues to bring the numbers down.
Where does enforcement have a role to play in, and how does it solve part of the problem?
Reducing victimization, obviously holding those accountable. Last time we talked about, we knew that 2 particular gangs have infiltrated our encampments. They're all over it. When there's no encampment, it's pretty hard for them to hide. So easy to hide in a tent. Somebody said that, it's not safe to go to the shelters. The province adding security to shelters, all of a sudden it's a lot easier to protect somebody in a building than it is to protect 1,800 or 2,000 or whatever the number of tents scattered all over the city are. So basically it's get a better environment, get people to a place where you can actually keep them safe, get the decision makers in relation to who need to be there to make some of these decisions, and ultimately you'll start to see numbers drop. It happened when we started the hubs years ago. You'll start to hopefully see some reductions in emergency room visits that'll obviously free up some time in hospital. You have to operate off the same page if we're actually going to solve this. And for deaths in relation to overdoses and or cause of death, the source of truth is the medical examiner. It's not the police. It's not the news media. It's not a not-for-profit. It's the medical examiner. And I think when we operate off the same page, we have a better chance, just like housing numbers. How many are homeless? What is our real issue? Are we solving the right problem? Are we asking the right question? These are all things we're starting to figure out, and it's because we've taken some of the action as a collective group to try to obviously address this.
Now, Edmonton Police shared a couple of videos on social media recently, touring through former encampment sites and looking at the waste left behind. At the Police Commission meeting last week, EPS was criticized, saying that some of these videos were exploitative. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I totally disagree. That's a person's opinion. The end of the day is it's important that we show what's going on and how dangerous this environment is and how we actually could keep people safe. The reality is there's no people shown in those videos. It's just the reparation of the grounds and some of the damage that's being done. But again, it goes back to if we can actually get people into services and connect them to services and prevent that from happening, how can that be a bad decision? I mean, there was not one person in the video, but the reality is the video is actually what's going on. And there is a duty on behalf of the police to tell that story, but it's also a duty to actually show that the focus is to get people into services. There's only been 5 arrests out of encampments the whole time, 5 arrests. The reality is it's channeling people to the services they need. It's already taking the criminal element out of that particular environment, and we've had better enforcement success, and as a result, we're seeing the violence and things drop.
Chief, we appreciate you coming in this morning to tackle these questions.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mark, and again, appreciate what you do.